DC Comics are dropping a bunch of news about upcoming series that are going to be popping off in March. I noted when we did the February solicitations, there were a ton of things that were ending at that time. So we are going to have yet another event kicking off. And this one's a little bit more small, and it's not Batman, so that's a big deal. And we've also got the return of one of the classic team-ups in DC Comics history. Batman and Superman are returning under an old title, so I think this is the potential to be very good. So I'm going to go down the information as far as what's going on with this Suicide Squad, Flash, Teen Titans team up, and then I'll talk about the world's finest returning under Mark Waid. Now, if you like comic book news and reviews, Thinking Critical is likely the channel for you. I'm your host, Wes. If you haven't subscribed, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Oh my goodness, my hand's all over the place. And now let's get into the nitty-gritty details. And after I go through the two, or each announcement, I'll give you what I think is good and bad about the announcement, how things could go wrong, and I'll do the next one. So let's talk about this event that's kicking off in March 2022. And there is an evil Justice League hunting the Suicide Squad on Earth Zero. And this is going to be a multiversal war as the Crime Syndicate target the Suicide Squad in War for Earth number 3. DC is ramping up their crossover events in 2022. We're going to have 4 of them. 4, count them, 4 big ones. 4 big events in the first quarter of 2022. I'm going to talk to my good friend Josh from DC, or from BatmanNews.com on Thursday on the channel. Is it too many events? I don't want to talk about this here because I don't have time, but that I am going to cover it. I promise you. So War for Earth 3 is going to have 3 DC ongoing titles: Flash, Teen Titans, Academy, and Suicide Squad. And it's going to be bookended by 2 one-shots, an alpha and an omega issue, in what's been described as a not only crossing between books, but a story that crosses between universes in the DC Omniverse. Longtime Task Force X leader Amanda Waller has been sending her team of misfits through the DC universes since the early days of the Infinite Frontier Suicide Squad series, but in War for Earth 3, she'll be targeted by Earth 3's evil version of the Justice League, the Crime Syndicate. This is just as Waller is getting her souped up Justice Squad team up and running. The evil Justice League versus Suicide Squad war will grow and encompass the Flash and Teen Titan Academy titles, as those heroes are looking for a missing student who is believed to have been recruited to the new squad, the Justice Squad. Current Suicide Squad writer Robbie Thompson will be taking over the writing of the other 2 titles, Teen Titans Academy and Flash, alongside incoming co-writer Dennis Hopeless Hallam, and they'll be writing the bookended one-shots as well. Those are the details. Let's go into the book, to the good. There's definitely some good to take out of this. This is not a Batman crossover event. We've had enough Batman crossover events. In fact, there's not a Batman title associated with it. I say good on them. I'm glad that there's no Batman stuff associated with the Wonder Woman crossover event as well. And I'm kind of liking the smaller format that they're working here. We've certainly seen that with the Shadow War event. That's going to be, Deathstroke Incorporated, as well as Robin, as well as Batman. So a little bit smaller, not quite so enormous. Obviously, you still get the one-shots. But I kind of like that. Not every crossover event has to be 40 titles. Not every crossover event even needs to be 10 titles. 5 books is perfectly fine to tell a cool story that feels big because it's, it's incorporating multiple titles and multiple heroes, fighting the same villains and whatnot. So I like the smaller format. I dig where DC Comics are going. In fact, I hope that they continue to do more of this stuff. And if you want to have more events, make them a little bit more small, more compacted, more, centrally located on a few key titles, and do the best you can, rather than making them so big and cumbersome that they're essentially, unwieldy. Is that a good word for that? And I must say, The Flash has been particularly good since Future State. I did not like the Flash story in Future State. I thought that was trash. But the accompanying series by Jeremy Adams has been lights out. It's been one of the very best comic series out of DC. As far as their ongoings go, I would say that Flash series is right underneath Robin, which I think has been the best DC ongoing series for quite some time. For almost a year now. I think we got up to issue 9 or 10. So I think the Flash has been really, really good. And definitely thanks to Jeremy Adams. I have not been reading Suicide Squad, but my good friend Drew from Comics Elite is singing the praise of Robbie Thompson on Suicide Squad. I have not. I'm late to the party. I definitely need to catch up, especially if I'm going to read this event, which I plan on doing. So there you go. A couple of the hotter titles that have some good creators behind it are involved in this, and I think that is a good thing. But there's not plenty bad. There's a couple of bad things, in my opinion, that we need to talk about as far as this War for Earth 3 thing goes. What is Dennis Hopeless Hallam doing anywhere near this thing? Does DC Comics not realize he's one of the shittiest writers in all of comics? Have they not read his Exo Man of War at Valiant Comics? That thing is a train wreck. I've read enough Dennis Hopeless Hallam comics to know he's not even a marginal writer. He's like D and F list. Really, really untalented, in my opinion. The only book he's ever written, as far as comic books, that I've liked is a really shitty Darth Vader story that is so bad it's hilarious. And I definitely recommend it. I made a video about it. I said I'm recommending a bad comic book just because it was so funny. And I don't think that was his intention. There was supposed to be a moment or two here and there that were funny, but it was so bad and just it was unintentionally funny, but hilarious. So the best stuff I've ever read from Dennis Hopeless Hallam was good, not in spite of him. It was good because of how bad he was as a writer, if that makes any sense. There's this really funny Darth Vader story where he's got like an obsessed fan, and people were just so outraged over it because Darth Vader killed a woman. It was absolutely hilarious. I don't think he meant for that to happen either. Why the fuck isn't Jeremy Adams on this book? Jeremy Adams has been kicking ass and taking names on Flash. He better be on a vacation or something because he earned the spot to be, if not co-writing this, being the main writer. He's been doing a great job. Now, I know the Flash and Teen Titans sound like they are throwing elements of this crossover, but he's been doing great. Dennis Hopeless Hallam sucks. It's not a hard decision. Like you really have to question the wisdom and basically the general awareness of the DC Comics editorial on who's actually working for them and who's who are writing stories that are good. The other thing, well, let's get to the other bad thing. I am really liking these more condensed, localized, smaller scale events. I think they're cool. I like stories that pop through a couple titles and then you're out of there in a few weeks. But so far, the Alpha and Omega issues, in my opinion, for DC Comics event suck ass. They're really boring. They tend to be just catch-up issues, which wouldn't be so bad. This next one for this Shadow War Alpha, $7. If this one's $7, get out of here. How do you there are fans of Flash, Teen Titans Academy, and Suicide Squad that likely don't read the other two titles. If you make that damn book $7, that is an impediment. That is a speed bump. That is a do not enter side for new readers that you're trying to get to sample these other books and see if they like them. Do not do the $7 and just get rid of the Alpha and Omega titles. Oh, they normally suck anyway. Did you read Batman Fear State Omega? Awful. So DC Comics do not have it going on when it comes on to these bookend titles, in my opinion. And that's all I got to say about this War for Earth 3 event spanning Flash, Teen Titans Academy. Well, I almost forgot that part. And the Suicide Squad. Now let's talk to this next Batman Superman team-up book, which we knew was coming from Mark Waid. And the artist is going to be Dan Moore, so that is good news. As expected, from the pages of Detective Comics, it was one of the backup stories in, what was it? It's 1020? I don't remember. It was an expensive book with a lot of backups. This is one of them. and it hinted that we were going to get this new Mark Waid Batman Superman team up, and it is being described as a brand new day for the classic superhero pairing. Batman Superman World's Finest is a continuation of the story from Detective Comics 1050. As I mentioned, there were several backup stories in the oversized issue that cost far too much. DC Comics originally announced Waid and Mora's backup stories would be just the beginning. Ooh, my voice cracked. For the creative duo and the two superheroes. And now we see a bigger picture. The new World's Finest series kicks off with a tale set in the not too distant past, in which Superman turns to Batman for help after receiving a dose of kryptonite from his enemy Metallo, leading Batman in turn to extreme measures to help Superman with the aid of the Doom Patrol. Hey, I dig the Doom Patrol, so I'm glad they're back. The World's Finest title began in 1941 and was published continuously until 1986, normally featuring the duo of Batman and Robin. In recent years, we have not had that. We've had a Batman Superman title, Batman and Robin, Batman and Superman. God, it is very late here. In recent years, we have had the Batman Superman comics that have kind of replaced it. Here, they're combining the two. It's World's Finest, Batman Superman, or is it Batman Superman, World's Finest? It's one or the other. Now, there are definitely some good things to take away from this. Dan Mora is absolutely white hot at DC Comics. Couldn't be more excited to have him on the art, other than the fact that it means he's leaving Detective Comics. Victor Bogdanovich is doing a really good job over there, but for the most part, they're going to need extra artists. So losing Dan on that book, he was tailor-made for that Detective Comics book, but I think he'll do quite a fine job on here. That's going to be the one enormous selling point outside of having a Batman-Superman team-up, which isn't really all that, it's not all that obscure. It happens all the time. So if you're looking for a book that's going to look like $1 million, this is going to be one of the titles from DC Comics you can count on. Dan Mora is fantastic. And Batman and Superman, let's face it, there's a reason they've done so many team-ups. They are a fantastic team. Everyone likes Batman and Superman when they get together. I really like when they explore their relationships and the contrast between the two characters and how they view the world differently and they view their roles in the world differently, but they're still great friends and they respect each other. If we can get this book on that level, I will be very happy because I like it when they show the characters together like that. If you want to see how not to do it, go read Tom King's Batman series when they had that was it the Nightmare story arc, one of the worst story arcs in comic book history. There's a Batman Superman team up there that's god awful. I don't think we're going to be getting that one here. I think we're going to get the good version of the duo together, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Now the bad. I've only got one bad thing to say about this. Why Mark Waid? He wasn't at DC Comics for a long time. I know that Paul Levitz and Bob Harris are gone, so there's no more obstacles for him to come back at work at DC. But Mark Waid literally hasn't had a hit book in years at Marvel or anywhere. I don't understand why he's writing this. He used to be a big name, and he certainly had some great work on Flash and Kingdom Come. People love that book, and the name's escaping me of the other Superman book, but I wish that. Like I said, it's late. So he's had a lot of success at DC Comics. There's no denying that. But he hasn't had any success in comic books lately. Plus, there's also that video out there by T. Franklin that's on YouTube about the language that he used. Did DC not care that he was using racially insensitive language in front of one of their minority creators? I mean, I did a whole video on it. I mean, a lot of people saw it. I know people from DC saw it. Apparently, they just didn't care. Mark Waid is not a draw anymore. In fact, he's likely to be a reason not to buy the book for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Mark Waid. He does not have a good reputation. And there are enough Batman and Superman books out there that this thing isn't all that unique, and it needs to have a selling point, and the creative team needs to be one of those. Dan Moore is absolutely a selling point. Mark Waid, he ain't it anymore. So those are my opinions. Those are the big news, or at least the titles that we know about right now. There's likely to be more as we're leading up to the solicitations. So DC Comics can shut down, go on Christmas break and New Year's break. So all their news is going to be getting out this week, and then they're going to kind of go incognito probably for a little while. So I imagine I'm going to be very busy through the weekend. And we've got a Suicide Squad Flash Teen Titans crossover event called War for Earth 3, as well as a new World's Finest title from Mark Waid. Tell me what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.